Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Today we're taking a look at FPL Andy's Fantasy League team, comparing it to my team after because it's very, very different. Now, again, nothing but respect to the Fantasy League YouTubers. They do a lot of work on expected goals, pre-seasons, and they come out basically help form a template for the community along with a few other valuable individuals. Now, Andy's team is quite an interesting one. It follows the rough template that I've seen going round in the sense that okay, Bruno Fernandes and Rashford, along with Martinelli and Saka, and then Haaland, of course. But then keeping with the theme of Estupinian, Gabriel, Chilwell, Watkins is a bit more of a differential, and same for Mbembo, especially now that he's a doubtful person. And then same for his goalkeeper, is a bit more of a wild card. Now, for me, we're going to come on to my team in a second, but what do I think about this team in case anybody cares? Why would you care? It's a good point. Now, I obviously like football. Did I beat Andy in rank last year? Okay, being truthful, no. So respect where respect is due. But in my humble opinion, right, I just don't see starting two Man United attackers, Rashford and Fernandes, as beneficial. I think I would definitely select Rashford, like I have done, but I don't see the benefits in having Fernandes as well until we know what Man United's goal scoring form is going to be like. I personally would rather go for Anthony. I know he's on penalties. That is, my personal thoughts. Coming over to Arsenal, I feel like Martinelli is an absolute rocket, but is he nailed on? Do you want 3 Arsenal assets at the start of the year? Fair enough, that could be a very good option because of their fixtures, but I think Saka and Gabriel, I think 2's enough for me personally. And again, Martinelli is absolutely fantastic, but is there going to be any rotation with Havertz, Trossard? They've got quite a stacked group in there, and I wouldn't want to risk it this early on until we see a run of form from them. Getting that many attackers in for Arsenal, and until we see sort of Martinelli come into form, because that means he's nailed on into the squad. So that's why I also don't back, for example, having 3 players from Arsenal in that sense. Now, up front, Haaland, yes, of course. And then Watkins is an interesting one. He's in a very, very favourable situation after his great form last season. But again, I feel like for me, I'd rather take a risk on Jackson for Chelsea, who's had a great pre-season, or Pedro for Brighton, who's coming at a way cheaper price point. Now, again, Watkins is a top player, but I feel like once he gets momentum, that's when he really takes off. And is he going to have that momentum to start the season? Who knows? I hope he does. Love the guy. But for me, in my terms of Fantasy League point selection, I'm not looking to get him until he starts that form. Haaland is just, is what it is. It's a must. Chilwell, Estupinian, again, losing at home is a good clean sheet opportunity. And he was playing very, very high up, again, in their recent friendly. Gabriel is a must. I think an Arsenal defender is a must, like I was saying. Unana for Man United. So I was really tempted by him. But then the problem is that basically in pre-season, he was conceding a few goals. And a few goals that were like lobs or chips or whatever it was, that have just left me open to not going with him for now while they try out their new style of play with him. Now, once he gets a bit more form, Man United have got a solid defence. They had, De Gea in goal last year, loads of saves, loads of clean sheets, and so he's definitely one to watch. However, for now, I've gone with a 4.5 million goalkeeper, but is it worth it for a 0.5 million upgrade? It possibly could be. It really possibly could be. So I'm going to bear that in mind, the price difference for what you get. And then finally, Chilwell. So Chilwell, again, Chelsea defender, but Liverpool at home is quite a tough fixture, so I think it's quite a brave move starting him there, which is why I haven't got any Chelsea defenders. So coming on to my team, again, Johnson in goal, Stones. They're my 2 differentials there. However, I could be tempted to change that around, especially given the value of Johnson there compared to some of the goalkeepers out there. Ideally, in the long run, I'd like to hold out for a few game weeks and get a Newcastle defender in / Pope in. However, for now, that's what I've gone with. I've got Maddison as well and Luis Diaz as my differentials in midfield. And I've opted to play 3 up front with Pedro and Jackson. So I've gone for kind of quite a few differentials here. And the reason is that I think Maddison's going to score a lot of goals with Kane if he stays. If Kane goes, maybe I'll reconsider. And I think that Diaz, again, if he's nailed on in the starting squad, he's a phenomenal player. He's hungry. And I think if I had to choose between Diaz and Nunez, the reason why I didn't get Nunez is because I'd like to start Jackson and Pedro because I'd like to have a Chelsea and Brighton forward. And in midfield, I think the options aren't really there at the moment until we know more about their form. However, Liverpool do have great options in midfield, i.e. Diaz. I also don't have Salah, so I wanted to compensate for that by getting, for example, Luis Diaz in as well. And although it's a tough opening fixture, I think there could be some goals in Chelsea-Liverpool, you know? And then up top, as I was saying, Pedro, and then Jackson, who's had a great pre-season. And Nkunku's injured. He's going to start most likely, so I'm really banking on him performing well. And I think the top ranked FPL player last year has got Jackson in the team as well, which is a bit of a confidence-boosting thing for my selection. Eze's on the bench as well, so it's quite an interesting layout here. So looking at the main, how many players do we have the same? Gabriel, Estupinian, yes. Saka, Rashford, 4, yes. Haaland, 5. So this is the template that I've gone with. This is closer to the general template. I've broken away from it. And then this is FPL Tips' team. Now, this is very similar to my team in the sense that, right, the defense, the back three is exactly the same. The goalkeeper's different. However, you know, mine might change. And then the midfield is similar again. Saka, Rashford, but he's gone with Fernandes and they've gone with Matoma and Martinelli. The three that I kind of don't have or don't want to go for. Again, when it comes to Matoma, I think I've obviously opted to go for a striker within Pedro instead of Matoma. And again, that's a very similar strategy, just a matter of opinion. But going for doubling down on Man United and Arsenal assets in midfield is really what separates out our team. So again, they finished higher than me last year, so I can't say that my team's better. But in my subjective opinion, based on not much, I generally think that having your assets spread out a tiny bit more at the opening start of the season can be more beneficial. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is it more beneficial to have a more diverse asset array to start the season with money in the bank to then go forward? Or is it better to just, you know, knuckle down on some good home fixtures, which he's done heavily in midfield? Thank you for watching. Let me know your team and I'll see you very soon.